Beretta 21A Bobcat Covert. So this is going to be pretty interesting. Very little gun. Let's see how it goes. One in a chamber. I don't think that's ever going to get old. I just love everything about this. Oh my God, this is such a little gun. One in the chamber. How about that? Definitely hitting some pop cans at 10 yards. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Concealed Carry channel. I'm Grant McLean. Today we have a awesome tabletop unboxing range review of the Beretta 21A Bobcat Covert. This gun is pretty darn cool, so I'm super excited to share with you my opinion and findings on this. And you know what? You can take this information and find if this is going to be a good gun for you to purchase. So we are going to split this up and our future reviews up into part 1 and part 2. Most of our reviews are running around 25 to 30 minutes, and I totally get it. That's a pretty long review, but we're also covering a lot of information. So we're going to split it up into 2 sections where we're going to do a unboxing, talk about the specs, and my first initial impressions. In the second part, then we're going to talk about the range review and kind of dive into a tabletop review of things that I would consider more in depth when looking to purchase a gun like this. So keep that in mind as you're watching this review. We just want to make it a little bit easier to digest. Before we jump into things, let's say what's up to our sponsors, and thanks so much. Of course, our Patreon supporters. Those of you who are Patreon supporters, thank you so much. If you'd like to be a Patreon supporter, go into the description below. Check out our Patreon page. It starts at $1, and of course, it's greatly appreciated, the support for the channel. And we do some exclusive content and some giveaways. To give you an idea, this quarterly giveaway is going to be this Sig Sauer FCU. This firing control unit is like the golden wrapper to the chocolate factory. You can do a lot with that, so I'm very excited to give that away to someone who is one of our Patreon supporters, so check that out. Of course, if you need to get a gun, visit nwarmory.com. The folks at Northwest Armory are fantastic, and you just let them know that Grant sent you over if you pop into the store, or go on their website, order a gun, have it shipped to your local FFL. And last but not least is X-Hunt Targets. If you want to get some of the awesome targets we use here on the channel, visit xhunttargets.com. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the unboxing portion of this review for the Beretta here. Now, when you receive the gun, it's going to come in kind of almost like a standard cardboard box. A lot of companies just comes in a cardboard box. Now, what's inside this box is what matters the most. So let's go ahead and unbox this. And there you have a nice little soft case here with Beretta on the front. Let's go ahead and open up this little soft case. Alrighty, inside this little blue bag is the 21A. Look at this beauty. Isn't that awesome? Before we do any of these reviews, we always make sure to clear the guns, make sure that they are safe. Same as when we go to the range. At the range, it's under complete professional supervision. It's a controlled environment. I know, boring, but we got to touch on it. Let's talk about what else is in the box here real quick, and then we'll dive into kind of the specs of the gun. So you're going to have your Beretta branded lock. You'll have your manual, little warranty information, some fabulous ATF information, a little extra propaganda from the NRA, and a little bit more safety information there. Here we are. Let's go ahead and toss that back in the box and jump into the specs. Look how cool this gun is. So this is, it's kind of has a long title to it. It's a Beretta 21A Bobcat Covert. Now, this is the Covert model because it's black with the wood grips. There's also an FDE model as well, and Beretta doesn't say that's the Covert model, but whatever. You can get it in 2 different kind of color variations. This gun was very hard to find. I am so happy that I was able to get it. It's fairly new offering out to the market. This was something that debuted at 2020 SHOT Show, right in the middle of, you know, the pandemic and everything. Now, guns are very hard to get, so you can imagine a small 22 caliber gun that pretty much anybody be very comfortable shooting is even harder to get. Some people are after these as collector items as well, because the threaded barrel, people had been doing threaded barrels kind of aftermarket or on custom variants of the 21A, and then Beretta decided to come out with their own. So we'll talk about that threaded barrel in a little bit. So let's talk about the specs. So it's a micro compact size of gun, or as some would call it, a pocket pistol. To give you an idea, if you're used to seeing like an LCP, like a Ruger LCP, or maybe even like a Bodyguard, or right here I have the Sig Sauer 238. You can see this is just slightly smaller than that. All right, so you can see it's just a little bit smaller. So it's like a micro compact pocket gun, chambered in 22 long rifle. They also do make the Tomcat, which is chambered in 32 ACP. I have yet to review one of those. I've got a chance to see one. It was already a customer's gun at the armory, but I got a chance to. It was almost identical to this, except for it's 32 ACP. I am really glad that I didn't buy that gun, because 32 ACP is impossible for me to get my hands on. It is not a very popular round. At least 22 long rifle is going to be that much more popular. Plus, I already had some here, so I was able to actually take this out and go shoot it. But it's a single stack, 22 long rifle. So the magazines are a 7-round capacity. You can shove 8 rounds in this. However, it will malfunction. So 7-round capacity, and this is what's cool. You have a tilt-up barrel. So you can actually put 7 rounds in here, and then 1 in the chamber, essentially. 1 in the chamber. You're locked and loaded. You're ready to rock. This thing, it makes me laugh every single time. It's just doing. Just cracks me up. The barrel length on this is 2.9 inches. The overall length on this gun is going to be 5.4 inches. The height's 3.7 inches. And the width at the grip here, which is the widest part, is 1.1 inches. Now, this grip, being that's the wood grip, it does have some extra curvature to it. It's a little bit wider, feeling-wise, wider than the FDE model, because those ones have the slim grips. But you could also, you know, get different grips for this if you decided you wanted to go all like black on black too, which would be totally cool. The weight on this gun is 11.8 ounces empty, so this is a fairly lightweight gun. And it's a metal on metal gun, so it's lightweight, but it doesn't feel plasticky or cheap or anything like that. It feels very well made. Like it's like a Beretta 92, but just miniaturized. The grip angle's great. The little baby beaver tail, the little mini safety on there, the hammer. I mean, everything about this is just, how should I say? It's adorable. It's just an adorable little gun. The MSRP on this guy, it's not cheap though. It's $529 if you can find it. Again, I was very fortunate to get one of these. Now, my thought when looking at this gun, and if I was saying to someone, here's why you would purchase this gun. Well, one, it does have that great kind of collector value to it. Beretta started producing these back in 1984, so this gun has been in production for some time, which is really cool seeing it still being produced today. There was a 25 ACP. Now in production, it's just the 22 long rifle and the 32 ACP. So those are going to be your two options at this point. You know, maybe you've collected the different variants as time goes on. Maybe you just like want a miniature version of one of your other Berettas. But having that little suppressor, if you have a suppressor that you can basically it's modular. So like Q has the erector, I have the Silencer Co. switchback. This is its smallest configuration. There's also the little pill box. This makes for a really fun gun to shoot, and it just looks really cool. Now, when you do put a suppressor on this, your sights are no longer usable. The suppressor sits pretty far above those sights, as you can see there. You're not really using your sights at that point, but, you know, let's be honest. It is a pocket carry gun. I don't think that you're going to really be using the sights much either way, but I will tell you this. In part 2, when we talk about our range review, this gun is a performer. So check that out. We got a nice little suppressor on there, and I've ran it suppressed. Honestly, I'm not even looking at the sights. You can kind of use them. I'm shooting both eyes open, so I'm getting somewhat of an idea of where it's going, but you can see I nailed that one right in the middle there. That's pretty cool. I like this. This is so cool. What I did find is there some reliability issues when you're using the subsonics, and it doesn't matter if it's suppressed in the short configuration or long configuration, because the long configuration is about this big. This suppressor is longer than the gun. How funny is that? Let's go ahead and put one out there real quick. Whew. Oh, so these are spinning. Look at that. You can see they're tumbling. With that being said, I don't want to get a baffle strike potentially, so we're not going to continue with this. But I have not exhausted my options when it comes to ammunition. I've been using the CCI Quiet, and CCI does have a CCI Quiet semi-automatic round that they make. So I'm going to see about getting my hands on some of those, and we'll have to revisit that later. But check that out. What a cool gun. I mean, this in this configuration is smaller than, here's a full-size 1911. That's smaller than that for sure. How sweet. So let's go ahead and pop that suppressor off there. It's a very fun shooting gun. It's a little awkward when you're holding it. Finding where to put your hands on this gun versus, you know, being used to like a larger gun is very fun. You're like, okay, so how do I put my thumb where? It's so small. It's very, very fun because it's so tiny, and of course you don't want, you know, your fingers to hold the slide. So if you're used to holding your grip like this, you know, this support thumb here is actually on the slide. So you don't want to hold that slide forward and have a failure to eject or failure to feed because of that. We had a failure to feed. Now, it could have been, because I did feel something, that could have been me as that slide came back. So you do have to get a little used to that. You know, it's a tiny little gun, so having a portion of your hand, you know, hanging off the bottom, that's totally normal. We'll talk about the trigger in the second part there, but it's a single action, double action gun, and, you know, it functions well in that regard. I mean, again, I just love that little lever where boink, that little barrel just doing, put a little round in there. It does only come with one magazine, which was kind of a bummer for me. This is not like an everyday carry gun for me, so I wasn't too concerned about having an extra magazine right away. So I'm going to place a couple of these on order just to kind of have extras. That way when we're at the range and somebody can load one while another person's, you know, shooting the gun. The fit, the finish is fantastic. The quality of build on this gun is awesome. There are some aftermarket things that you can do, say for like the safety to hold the slide forward, so that way it'll even be quieter because you're not going to hear the action when running it suppressed. But overall, if somebody said, hey, what do you think about this gun? I would probably tell them, hey, in some certain cases, it's not the most practical of guns, unless you feel that 22 long rifle is exactly what you're looking for. but it shoots great. It is very confident building, even for a new shooter. I really like everything about the gun, and I was very comfortable, even with all the guns that I have, that I was like, hey, this is something I can add to my collection, and you know what? Feel really, really good about, and kind of show off to my friends and family when they want to see something unique. So I would definitely tell somebody, if you have a want for a cool 22 that's small, confident building, not snappy, versatile in the regard that you can put a suppressor on it, very unique and cool, because, I mean, just look at it. I would say, hey, no pun intended, pull the trigger, baby. It's going to be awesome. So I want to say thank you guys so much for joining me for this unboxing and letting me share my first impressions of the gun with you. We're going to dive more in depth in the part 2, along with a range review and my findings there. So of course, make sure to hit that subscribe and the notify bell so you know when it's coming out. Share the channel with your friends, family, and other enthusiasts. Of course, make sure to check out our Patreon. Support our supporters of the channel, Northwest Armory and X-Hunt Targets. You'll find links to their websites in the description below. And outside of that, I'll see you guys next time here on the Concealed Carry channel. Take care.